Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, June 24th, 2021. Today, I'm going to recap yesterday's Stanley Cup playoff, NBA playoff, Major League Baseball, WNBA, UEFA, and College World Series games. Look ahead to everything going on today. I'll make a pick for the upcoming PGA tournament, which is the Travelers Championship. I'll go over the latest news and notes and my best bet of the day. All right, Stanley Cup playoffs. The Islanders with a huge victory, 3-2 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. They'll force a Game 7. The number 3 started the game with a goal, Scott Mayfield. The number 2 started the game with 2 assists, Matt Barzal. And the number 1 started the game with a goal, Anthony Pouliot, who scored the overtime winner that keep the Islanders season alive and to force a Game 7 on Friday night, which is going to be some atmosphere down there in Tampa. I think it's going to be a great game. And on the flip side, a big game tonight in the Western Finals, 8 o'clock on USA Network. You have the Golden Knights and the Canadiens. Game 6, Montreal with a chance to close out to go to the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas wins. Game 7 in that series would be Saturday night, which would be wild if we had 2 Game 7s. Vegas is a minus 146 favorite. Montreal's plus 124. Over under 5.5. Overs plus 130. Unders minus 160. Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 195. Montreal plus 1.5 is minus 240. Montreal has been on some kind of run. I think that Carey Price has been the best player in these entire playoffs. He, to me, is the runaway favorite for the Conn Smythe Trophy at the moment, especially if Montreal wins the series here. And they have a golden opportunity in front of their hands to do so. But the better team is the Vegas Golden Knights. They got to get going, right? I'm going to go Vegas here to win this game in regulation, a plus 110 to force an all-important Game 7. So I'd have 2 Game 7s, one on Friday and one on Saturday. All right, NBA playoffs. One game was played last night, and the Atlanta Hawks continue their magical run with a 116-113 victory over the Milwaukee Bucks to take a 1-0 series lead. Trae Young, 48 points on 17 of 34 shooting and 10 of 12 from the line, 11 assists. He has been the breakout star of these playoffs. And Giannis had 34 and 12 boards in defeat. And then tonight, you have Game 3 at Staples Center, 9 o'clock ESPN between the Suns and the Clippers. Kawhi's still out. Chris Paul likely back. So it's going to be interesting. My projected lines is Phoenix by 7, total 222.5. Meanwhile, it's Suns 1.5, total 221. I don't want to pick the Suns because I think that the series goes a little further and the line is low for a reason. And for the sake of the podcast, I'm going to go over 221 for my pick for this game, but I wouldn't bet on it. Although I have a huge edge on Phoenix, but that's because of the injury to Kawhi, and if Kawhi wasn't hurt, then that number goes down to a mere 2. Because that's how much I think Kawhi Leonard is worth. All right, to Major League Baseball we go. We will go over the results from last night, and we will look ahead to today's games. White Sox over the Pirates 4-3. Chicago is 44-30. Pittsburgh is 26-46. Don't cease to win. Chase DeYoung, the loss. Liam Hendricks with the save. Nats over the Phillies 13-12. Wild game. Washington 35-36. Philly 34-37. Tanner Rainey to win. Hector DeReese the loss. And Paolo Espino the save. Tigers over the Cardinals 6-2. Tigers 32-42. St. Louis 36-38. Matt Manning the win. John Gant the loss. Brewers over the Diamondbacks 3-2. The Brewers are 42-33. Arizona 21-55. Brandon Woodruff the win. Caleb Smith the loss, and Josh Hader gets the save. Giants over the Angels 9-3 in 13 innings. San Francisco's 48-26. LA 36-38. Dominic Leone the win, and Alex Claudio the loss. Rockies over the Mariners 5-2. The Rockies are 31-44. Seattle's 39-37. Herman Marquez the win. Justice Sheffield the loss. And Daniel Bard with the save. Yankees over the Royals 6-5 on a walk-off single by Luke Voigt in what was a thrilling game. Yanks 39-34. KC 33-39. Aroldis Chapman the win. The undeserved win because he blew the save. And Greg Holland the loss. Astros over the Orioles 13-0. Houston 46-28. Baltimore 23-51. Jose Urquidy the win, and Thomas Eshelman the loss. Mets over the Braves 7-3. The Mets are 38-31. Atlanta 35-38. Corey Oswalt the win. Kyle Wright the loss. Edwin Diaz gets his 16th save of the season. Rays over the Red Sox 8-2. The Rays are 44-31. Boston is 44-30. So Boston's only up a half game in first. Rich Hill the win. Garrett Richards the loss. Blue Jays over the Marlins 3-1. The Blue Jays are 37-35. The Marlins are 31-42. Robbie Ray the win. Trevor Rogers the loss, and Jordan Romano gets the save. Rangers over the A's 5-3. The Rangers are 27-47. Oakland's 45-31. Getting the win was Brett Martin. The loss is Mario Petit, and Joely Rodriguez gets his first save of the year. And the Padres over the Dodgers 5-3. The Padres are 45-32. Dodgers 44-30. Tim Hill the win. Blake Trinan the loss, and Mark Melanson the save. All right. Today's games, not many. 1 o'clock, you have the Royals and the Yankees. Brad Keller and Jamison Tyon. Oof. I think you guys know where I'm going with this one. Yanks are minus 190. Royals plus 160 over under 9.5. Minus 110 each way. Royals plus 1.5 is minus 125. Yankees minus 1.5 is plus 104. I'm going over 9.5 minus 110. Both these pitchers have been terrible this season. So that's that. 2 o'clock, A's Rangers. Chris Bassett and Colby Allard. A's are minus 154. Rangers plus 130. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Oakland minus 1.5 is plus 102. Texas plus 1.5 is minus 122. I'm going to go with Texas as a home dog again. In Oakland, to me, really hasn't looked right. So I'm going to go with the Rangers as the home dog. 7 o'clock, the Orioles and the Blue Jays from Buffalo. Dean Kremer and Anthony Kay. Blue Jays minus 164. Baltimore plus 138. Over under 11.5. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. Baltimore plus 1.5 is minus 125. Toronto minus 1.5 is plus 104. I'm going Blue Jays run line. Minus 1.5 plus 104. Braves Reds. Tony Santillan, and we don't know who's going for Atlanta. And there's no information about the game. But if the Braves are a dog in this spot, somehow I'll consider them. Red Sox Rays, Nick Pivetta and Michael Wacha. Rays are minus 130. Boston plus 110 over under 9. minus 110 each way. Boston plus 1/2 is minus 172. Rays minus 1/2 is plus 142. I'm going over 9 minus 110. Astros Tigers. So AJ Hinch against his ex-team. Luis Garcia and Jose Urena. Astros minus 215. Detroit plus 180. Over under 9.5 minus 110 each way. Astros minus 1/2 is minus 134. Tigers plus 1/2 is plus 112. I'm going over 9.5 and minus 110. Astros been hitting overs by themselves. Nats Marlins. John Lester and Cody Poteet. Nats minus 118. Marlins even money. Over unders 8.5. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Nats minus 1/2 is plus 134. Marlins plus 1/2 is minus 162. I'm going to go under 8.5 with the juice minus 114. 8 o'clock, the Indians and the Twins. JC Mejia and Jose Barrios. Twins are minus 174. Indians plus 146. Over under 9. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Indians plus 1/2 is minus 134. Twins minus 1/2 is plus 112. I'm going Twins run line. Minus 1/2 plus 112. I hate the pick, but that's where I'm going. 8:15 Pirates Cardinals. Chad Cole and Carlos Martinez. Cardinals minus 158. Pirates plus 134. Over under 9. Overs minus 114. Or minus 118. Unders minus 104. Pirates plus 1/2 is minus 146. Cardinals minus 1/2 is plus 122. I'm going over 9 of the juice minus 118. And last but not least, 10 o'clock, the Cubs and the Dodgers. Zach Davies, Walker Buehler. Dodgers minus 250 tied, 255. Cubs plus 210 over under 8, minus 110 each way. Cubs plus 1/2 is minus 105. Dodgers minus 1/2 is minus 114. I'm going to go... I don't like the pick, but under 8 minus 110 would be my pick there. All right, WNBA. We will look back on yesterday's games, and we will look ahead to today's action. All right, so last night the Lynx over the Dream 87-85. Lynx 6-7, Atlanta 5-8. Sylvia Foles 26 points, 19 boards. Courtney Williams 24 for Atlanta. 3 games today, 7 o'clock on Twitter, the Sky and the Liberty. Liberty need to get going. Serena Ionescu has to start living up to the potential. And then CBS Sports Network, you have the Wings and the Fever. The Fever are just by far and away the worst team in the W. I'm going to say Dallas should take that. And then 10:30, the Mystics and the Sparks from Los Angeles. Mystics have been playing great. Tina Charles has carried them. But I think the Sparks win this one because that team is fired up because of the All-Star snubbing of Ogumake. So I'm going to say that the Sparks win tonight. All right, now we will do UEFA Euro. We will go over those results from yesterday and look ahead to today's action. Trying to find it here. Here we go, Euro. Sweden over Poland 3-2. Sweden's goals were scored by Emil Forsberg in the 2nd and 59th minutes, and Victor Claesson in the 93rd minute in extra time to give Sweden the win. And Robert Lewandowski scored both goals for Poland, one in the 61st minute, the other in the 84th minute. Spain over Slovakia 5-0. The goals were scored by Martin Dubravka in the 30th minute. It was an own goal. Emerick Laporte in the 48th minute. Pablo Sarabia in the 56th minute. Ferran Torres in the 67th minute. And Juraj Kuka in the 71st minute. Portugal and France ended in a 2-2 draw. Portugal's 2 goals were scored by Cristiano Ronaldo in both the 31st and 60th minutes as penalty kicks. And Karim Benzema scored both goals for France. In the 47th minute as a penalty kick. And in the 47th minute, just in general, which is kind of funny. And Germany and Hungary ended in a 2-2 draw as well. Germany's goals were scored by Kai Havertz in the 66th minute and Leon Goretzka in the 84th minute. And then Hungary's were scored by Adam Szalai in the 11th minute and Andras Schaefer in the 68th minute. No UEFA again until Saturday, where the round of 16 will be underway, and obviously we will go over all the action on the podcast. All right, College World Series. We will go over the results from last night and look ahead to today. There's actually one game last night. Vanderbilt over Stanford 6-5 on a crazy finish. Bradfield Jr. singled to right and tied the game at 5 apiece for Vandy. And scoring the winning run on a wild pitch was Spencer Jones. So it's just a crazy finish to a crazy game. So Enrique Bradfield ties it with the single, and then scoring the winning run was Spencer Jones for Vandy. And Vandy was down 5-2 in this game, and then they came back to survive against Stanford, who was eliminated. And then another elimination game, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. You have Texas and Virginia. The winner gets a rematch with Mississippi State. I think both these teams are good. I've been saying on the show that Virginia has been the Cinderella story of this whole thing. And on the other side, Texas, a very talented roster in a good Big 12. Ty Madden is a very talented pitcher on this team. And I think we'll see him in this game. I think he'll get some big outs. I like a lot of guys on this Longhorns roster as well. So I'm going to go with Texas to move on to bring on Mississippi State in a rematch game. So that should be a lot of fun. All right, now I'm going to make my pick for the Travelers Championship for golf. We do have a super duper early leaderboard, by the way. With an early one-stroke lead at 1 under, Cameron Percy, Doug Gibb, Adam Schenk, and David Hearn. A big tie at even. Chris Kirk, Sepp Straka, Harold Varner III, Rory Sabatini, Dylan McCarthy, Tom Hogue, Maverick McNeely, Ryan Moore, Kevin Strillman, Tom Lewis, Justin Rose, Kyung-Hoo Lee, Carlos Ortiz, Matt Jones, and Nate Lashley. Tied for 20th at 1 over Abraham Answer, Keegan Bradley, Nick Watney, and Charlie Hoffman. And not in a tie, but 24th with 2 over Cam Triangle. Tee time 7:40. Sebastian Munoz, JB Holmes, Scotty Scheffler, Cam Smith, Bryce Garnett. 7:50. Mark Leachman, Tyler Duncan, Joaquin Neiman, Patrick Cantlay. 8 o'clock. Brendan Steele, Adam Pond, and Bryson DeChambeau, Stuart Sink, Patrick Reed. 8:10. CT Pond, Adam Scott, Lucas Griffin. 8:20. Chester V, Zach Johnson, Harry English. I'm just going through notable tee times, by the way. Lucas Donald. 8:30. Brendan Todd, Jason Day. 8:40, Henrik Norlander, Taylor Gooch. 8:50, Scott Stallings. 9 o'clock, Chris Koepka. And in the later window at noon, Rafa Cabrera, Belo, Brock Stewart, Mark Hubbard, Wyndham Clark. 12:10, Adam Hadwin, Patrick Rogers. 12:20, Mackenzie Hughes, Doc Redman. 12:30, Ricky Fowler. 12:40, Kevin Na. 12:50, Paul Casey, Bubba Watson, Phil Mickelson. 1 o'clock, Tony Finau, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson. 1:10, Ian Poulter, Dylan Fratelli. 1:20, Richie Wierenski, Russell Knox. 1:30, Bo Van Pelt, Emiliano Grillo, Henry Higgs, Danny Lee, DJ Tran. 1:40, Robbie Shelton, JJ Spawn, Scott Stallings, C. Smith Power. And that's it among notable tee times. And in terms of a pick, I'm going to go with somebody that I don't think I've picked to win a tournament in a while. He's sitting there. This player that I'm talking about is sitting there at 65-1. And that, my friends, is Jason Day. I think Day is due. It's a beautiful day outside. Why not Jason Day? So I'm going to go with Jason Day to win the Travelers Championship at 65-1, which I think is ridiculous. All right, now I'm going to do the latest news and notes. Not much to get into today. So the Islanders fans are going nuts. They are chanting, "We want the cup," after the big Game 6 overtime victory that forced a Game 7. I know every fan base does this when their team's in the conference finals, but the barn was rocking last night. So that could have been the last game at Nassau Coliseum, but at the same time, maybe it wasn't. Chris Paul back for Game 3 as he intends to make his return with Phoenix up 2-0 in the series. Trae Young says we got weapons too, as he is confident in his squad going up against the stacked Bucks. I believe in this team. The Boston Celtics are hiring Ime Udoka as the team's new head coach. Obviously a Nets assistant under Steve Nash. This is an interesting hire. Boston likes to go out of the box. We saw them do it with Brad Stevens, and now Brad Stevens is the GM and running the show. So Brad Stevens made the hire. I think this is an unknown. It's going to be interesting to see how he relates to the stars on that team. And now they have a busy offseason, more so ahead. They did the Kemba trade. Now they hire a new coach. Team USA roster finalized for men's basketball. Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Zach LaVine, Drew Holiday, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Draymond Green, Chris Middleton, Jeremy Grant, Kevin Love, and Bam Adebayo. It's a nice roster. I think it's huge that they got Durant in there. And Dame. So those are two recognizable names in there, and then looked like Harden was gonna be in there as well, but he withdrew after he suffered that hamstring injury in the playoffs. So I'm really not stunned that Harden dropped out, believe it or not. The Pistons could trade the number 1 pick, as GM Troy Weaver says dealing the number 1 pick is an option for the trade, but Cade Cunningham the likely pick if the team stays put. The U.S. women's national team Olympic roster dropped. So the goalies, Alyssa Nair of the Chicago Red Stars, Adriana Franch of the Portland Thorns, defenders Becky Swarburn of the Portland Thorns, Crystal Dunn of the Portland Thorns, Kelly O'Hara of the Washington Spirit, Abby Dahlkemper of Manchester City, Tarina Davidson of the Chicago Red Stars, Emily Sinnett of the Washington Spirit, middle fielders, Julie Ertz of the Chicago Red Stars, Lindsey Horan of the Portland Thorns, Rose Lavelle of the OL Reign, Sam Mewis of the NC Courage, Christy Mewis of the Houston Dash, and then the forwards, Carly Lloyd of Gotham FC, Alex Morgan of Orlando Pride, Kristen Press of the Manchester United, Megan Rapinoe of the OL Reign, and Tobin Heath of Manchester United. So the women's soccer team released for the Olympics, as well as the men's basketball team, which is what we just went over. Packers offensive lineman David Bakhtiari chugs a beer at the Bucs game on courtside. We're seeing athletes do this from other sports at teams' games all spring long. You've seen it with a couple Jets players at the Islanders games and so forth. But Bakhtiari had a good time at that game last night. Orioles call up 33-year-old Mickey Janis, and his knuckleball barely rotates and it is filthy. Max Scherzer thing got a little bit wacky as he ranted about the checks, as he said he has nothing to do or nothing to hide after substance checks against Philadelphia. I'll take off all my clothes if you want to see me. Wow. Mike Rizzo, the Nationals GM, called Joe Girardi a con artist as he rips Girardi for asking umps to check Max Scherzer for substances. He goes, "It's embarrassing for Girardi." That's very strong words by Mike Rizzo. Very strong words. And, a lot of managers are going to ask for check. But I'm not surprised that Joe did it. I'm not surprised. Because he just wants his teams to win. And the Nationals apparently wanted Bryce Harper checked, as Scherzer and the Washington bench wanted Bryce's hair checked for sticky stuff next. And that's just good for laughter because obviously Bryce was a Nat forever. He was dropped by the Nats, and now he's on the Phillies. So they just want to poke fun with their ex-player there. And Rob Manfred speaks out, and he says that it's less than ideal, but thinks that checks have gone very well so far. There has been a lot of checks so far. A lot of fans obviously have been booing in the arenas, or not the arenas, but in the stadiums, because they want to support their players. Like you saw the Yankee fans boo when Garrett Cole got checked the other day. But guys like Scherzer, Cole, and Jacob deGrom are going to get checked all the time. You got to get ready for that. Peter Alonso to defend the home run derby, as he drops an Instagram hype tape to announce that he's defending his home run derby crown at Coors Field. So that's pretty cool to see. It's hard to remember that he won that 2 years ago because they didn't have it last year. So Peter Alonso is still considered the defending champ of this. Anders Lee was skating yesterday morning with the regulars after he was expected to miss the rest of the season. But he wound up not playing. We'll see if he ends up playing in Game 7, which would be wild. And Nikita Kucherov headed to the locker room last night as he appeared to hurt his shoulder on a hit attempt on Matt Barzal. That series has gotten wacky, and that series really has been a lot of fun. With a lot of subplots in it. The Anders Lee one's going to be very interesting. I'm fascinated to see how that one plays out. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day. Brought to you by FanDuel. There's some interesting ones on the board for tonight, but nothing really jumped on the page for me. In terms of what I really, really liked. But I'm going to go a half unit on did that number go down between the Indians and the Twins, or did it go up? Over 9. But I chose the Twins, though, for the pick for that game. For the pick, though, I'm going to take, because of how this team's swinging the bats, I got to go over 9.5 between the Astros and the Tigers. So, best bet of the day, Astros, Tigers, over 9.5. Just going to continue the hot Astro bats. Maybe they do it by themselves again, like they did against Baltimore the last couple of nights. But again, half unit on over 9.5 between the Astros and the Tigers. So there you have it for the show today. I apologize for not doing an NBA mock. We'll save that for next week, and same for the NHL mock. Just have a lot going on. And then we'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to tomorrow and the weekend, as well as news and notes and best bet. I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.